Welcome back to Tools and Track. At the end of our last Impreza instalment, I made the rather ballsy claim that the car was finished and it was time for an MOT. I lied. There was one thing that I have alluded to in a previous episode, which we totally forgot to cover, and I actually totally forgot to deal with. Interior. Why have I forgot to? Because I don't have one. Well, I do. This Turbo 2000 has come with period leather seats, which are alright, I guess. However, okay doesn't necessarily mean good. They're a bit worn. That one I managed to get fixed because it wouldn't actually stop reclining, and I've now managed to buy bolts and get the two of them bolted in. So my progress in the interior is starting to inch forward. We're also gradually deleting all of the blue trim, which, yeah, and replace it with various parts of not blue trim, which isn't particularly interesting, so I'm just going to do that as we go. However, I've hit a snag, a pretty significant one. In the back seat. Now, who can remember when I laid out all of this stuff around about episode 1 of this project and said, oh great, we've got all the interior? Well, we did. We had the bench and we had the surround. We don't have this at all, which makes the entirety of this interior a bit useless. Now, having looked on eBay, I thought, well, it shouldn't be hard to find a replacement leather back bolster. Well, yeah, it actually really is. Most people delete these to go race car or sell them for exuberant amounts of money for, I'm going to be honest, not even good condition stuff. And that's not a split fold seat, which this is. And I'd quite like to keep that because even though they've got a bar in the way, this is pretty useful. So, what are my options? Not a significant amount, if I'm being honest. If I can't get that bolster, which we've established I can't, we're into new interior. It's not like I'm replacing a pair of front seats with a pair of buckets that you'd expect to find mismatched. No, the back seat has to be a back seat. So we're buying a full interior. So if we are buying a full interior, the most obvious thing to do at this point in time is to rip it all back out again. Continuing on the interior, I've been on the hunt for a new centre console set to replace this blue monstrosity that came with the car. And sad to say, I've not really managed to find one because there's various different revisions of Impreza, obviously, and they all come with different interiors and whatnot. Plus, what I've managed to see is an average condition, breathtakingly expensive, and I'm not for doing that. So if it was good enough to paint the first time round, it should be good enough to paint again using paint that I got from the paint shop. Now this is meant to be dark grey, and I'm already looking at the lid going, it doesn't look dark enough, but we'll give it a go. First off, we'll need to strip this properly because there are little components on here that have not to be grey. So what I'm going to have to get down to is a bare one of these, and then we'll need to etch it so that it'll take another coat of paint. The best way to etch plastic, scouring pad. Just go around the whole bloody thing and just key it down, scuff it lightly. I don't even think we'll need primer, but we'll see. Anyway, strippy strip. Dear internet online sellers, that is not dark grey. That is British Leyland Austin Rover Maestro grey. It's almost borderline that bloody Nardo grey that the Audi boys love. Anyway, I'm not sold. I don't know, I'm going to have to rethink about this. I'm going to line it up inside the car and see what it looks like. So, following a quick trip down to Stella Motors in England, go on their Facebook page, they do fun stuff with cars, picked up these. And these were greatly inexpensive compared to everything else I've had to buy for the Impreza so far. These are proper Turbo 2000 seats, the ones you'd normally find in there. The fabric, which means it won't burn my arse in the middle of summer, and it won't chill my arse in the middle of winter, so I'm not really too gutted to be getting rid of leathers. And they are rip and fag burn free. However, what they are not is clean by any stretch of the imagination. So, Patron in the background, Sam Hain, who's frantically getting ready to do the clean of his life, is going to help me wet vac these boys. So let's have a look at what's involved with the wet vacuum.
I'm not going to help him, I'm going to wet vacuum.
Apparently I'm banned and he's just going to do it himself. So I've just been told that I can't stand around and do bugger all. While he's setting the wet vac up, I have to hoover thoroughly with a hoover. So I mean, looking at them up close, it's mostly just sort of dirty paw prints and general workshop grime that's on them. Hopefully getting in about the edges of these will help clean them up. We shall see.
And it's much easier to do it out the car than it is in the car, particularly seats with the bolsters and things around here, and on the inside of the seats as well. When you think about it, the two seats are like two seats together. It's hard to get into these areas. So when they're out the car, it's ideal time to clean them before they go back in, and it'll probably never need to be done again.
Cool.
Unless you spill tons of shit over them or whatever.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, beep, beep. It's very simple the way this machine works. You've got two tanks.
Clean
one
and
with water, clean water obviously. You want it slightly warm, so boil the kettle, and the hot tap's not great in here, so boil the kettle, it's slightly warm, you can feel that there. Obviously I'm telling you it's slightly warm. And the cleaning solution on the top there, so this is just like a Vaxazone solution, plus I added a wee bit of molten cleaner in it as well. And
special blend? Yeah,
special blend actually, that should be more than enough just to do. We're only doing 2 seats.
And a bench.
And a bench, the rear. So the rear bit the arse goes on, which will probably be dirtier than the back, to be honest.
Wow, that is a whole load of filth.
Is your interior, mate? That tank was clean before I got here. So.
Sexy.
Yep, that's about 20 years of Yorkshire grime. Or Cheshire grime, or
whatever the car came from.
Car came from. We could get away for Patreon. Patreon?
No, let's just not.
You can drink it or something.
So a few episodes ago, Mechanical Hodor made a lovely cutting remark about these. So we're going to cut on these. Still available, off the shelf, OEM rubber pads. The only problem is, we will have to take the old chod off before we put the new OEM chod on. Oh mate, they're barking. Oh no. Oh, they're proper rubbery rubber. Taking them off. These are going to have nuts behind them or something. Bloody knew it. If you are interested in getting a set of these, now that I've taken them off the car, don't be. So I've done a trial fit, and the survey says that is just far too wild a match. So we went to plan B, and we've tried black because I had it lying around. And I think the survey also says because that just doesn't match anything. Similarly, if we were to take that black and put that in it, it's still going to stand out too much from this. So we're on to plan C, which was go to and get the closest colour match you could find. Now this is Honda Polished Grey Metallic. Alright, hopefully it's going to be the right stuff. So, before we get painting again, we need to have a discussion. You may have noticed lots of this nonsense going on everywhere, basically. The amount of random overspray I've got is frightening. The reason for that is I decided to go onto our usual online internet sellers of more examples. Yes, our usual online sellers of paint, and this stuff, it's not an aerosol so much as a fucking atomic bomb. When it goes off, it just goes everywhere. So we've had to devise a solution in the form of this one homebrew paint booth. That's going to live here. We're going to probably run something like this through the top of it so I can suspend something and paint it all in one go and have it hung. But this is going to obviously capture all of the paint, so we're going to reduce the overspray. Now the reason I got it with a lid is because, well, it came with it, and the reason I got it in this fetching sort of off pink colour, because I like pink. What I'm doing here is just filling the paint bay with heat. I'm not specifically pointing this heat gun at the part, I'm just baking the whole spray booth with it. That'll stop it blowing any dust on and ruining the finish. So, again, that's the theory. We'll see if that actually works. Okay, well that's the interior sorted. So we're finished. Well, almost. It is now time for this thing to go for an MOT. And I've not even spun a wheel in this thing outside of the garage. Never mind establishing if it'll pass an MOT. So we're going to go front to back, top to bottom, which is why the car's still in the air, and work out if it's going to sail or not. Now I'm not going to write a list for this, I'm just going to have to fix it as it goes. But we'll highlight some things you might want to consider for an MOT that you might not normally have clocked onto. Let's get into it. Underneath the bonnet, surprisingly enough, there's very little that needs to be considered for an MOT. You would think, well, if the car doesn't actually have an engine, that would be a problem. The MOT is a safety check. Well, no, as long as the engine starts, runs, doesn't pump out noxious fumes, and doesn't leak, that's really all the MOT care about. I mean, what else does it need to consider? As long as it's not polluting the atmosphere and polluting the roads, it can do what it likes. So, having looked at the engine, it's bone dry. Believe me, the MOT station won't even check the oil. They don't care. They only want to make sure that it's safe. So the engine's fine. We're happy with that. However, this is a pretty obvious one for an MOT. Lights. Now remember, we've changed all the lights in the car because they were unpleasant. So now we need to check the ones that are in it are going to work. Now, that means all the lights, indicators, side lights, headlights, full beam, and fogs because they're fitted. Don't think because you've got your full beam here, you can just ignore fogs if they don't work. If the light's on the car, it has to work. So, let's do a run test. So are you paying attention, boys and girls? Yeah, most of the lights work, however, I didn't just put the indicators on, I put the hazards on. We've lost an indicator bulb here, clearly, and also, I did try these, both don't work. So we need to dig a bit deeper here. Onto the back. Full sweep, by the way. There isn't a fog light in here. As long as you've got one in the back, it's a pass. Right, electrical diagnosis time. This guy is also an MOT fail. That's going to have a clamp on it. Now, luckily, I found these in the boot. These are the clamps that originally hold on the top plate for the battery. What I don't have is the top plate. Now, having looked on eBay and wasted enough time trying to find one, we're going to go to plan B. Right, we're done. Well, are we? What have I forgot? I know there's at least 2 things in here that I've forgot to do to get through an MOT. And we will catch them in the next episode. And MOT this. But, you want a shout out on the channel? Tell me in the comments something that I forgot. If it's what I think it is, yeah, we'll run through a list of everyone that got the right comment. If it's something that I have definitely missed and I haven't clocked, you'll definitely get a shout out, because you've obviously got a sharper eye than I do. So, at this point, I'd like to say thanks to everyone who's followed this build. We're nearly done. I've even got something lined up for paint, I think, which is promising. Patrons, run up the side list here. Massive thanks for your support. Couldn't be doing this without you, if I'm being honest. If you don't know what that's about, patreon.com/toolsandtrack. Anyone else who's just joining us, like, bell, all that jazz. Come on, you know the chat. Next up, we'll be doing something at a low cost, but I will be back on this after that. Tell me what I need to do, and we'll do it. Till then, thanks for watching, guys. How come your projects take forever, Tommy? How come you've not finished anything? Because I'm too busy wiping permanent marker off my bloody whiteboard because I am a moron. No smoking. Right. Do things.